hello, and welcome. Thank you for reserving this hour to join me. I am your host, Coach Debby, and this is Story U Talk Radio at 11:50 a.m. KKNW. We are based here in the Seattle area. On this show, it is my delight to help you discover your voice and tell your stories. I am a writing professor who has gone entrepreneurial. My whole goal around that was to bring you into a deeper sense of yourself so that the story you're writing is now the story you're living, and it just might be the story you decide to write and put in a book. If that speaks to you, I hope you'll continue to listen on Thursdays at 4 o'clock. I come to you live each week, and I also offer writing programs one-on-one and in group settings. I'm based here in Seattle, Washington, and you can learn about my programs at www.coachdebby, and that's DEBBY.com. You can send me an email, debby@coachdebby.com. You can always connect with me at Facebook as well. And I like to take your calls and your questions during the show, offer you live coaching if you care for it. Just contact me at my email or go to Facebook Messenger. And my name is Debbie Handrich. It's spelled exactly like it sounds. Handrich. Just go in there to Messenger, type in a question. Try not to have too many typos so I don't have to skip over words I don't know. And we'll get your question on the show, and I'll do my very best to get some guidance towards you. Today, I have a wonderful guest in the house that I'm going to be bringing on in a few moments. She is a personal and professional image consultant, Annette Bond from Sammamish, Washington. Actually born in Spokane, Washington. But those of us in the Bellevue and Greater Seattle area have the benefit of coming to shops in the areas and learning her skills as a professional feng shui consultant, as a professional image consultant. In fact, she is only one of two in the Pacific Northwest that does what she does. I mean, anybody can show you about clothes if they're doing well with clothes, but that's not really what we're talking about here. Annette Bond's personal, professional, and complete brand, you'll understand this when you meet her, is this notion of reveal your radiance. So in a few moments, I'll be bringing her onto the show. But for right now, why don't you get yourself thinking about what is it that you want to ask about image? Do you think your professional image really matters? Do you think your image matters when you go to a PTA meeting? Is there any time, actually, when image doesn't matter? Sure, there's a time or two, but when it matters, are you on your game? And what level of that game are you at? Are you at that introductory level of, well, as long as I'm thrown together, that's good enough? Or are you really giving it your time and your attention and thinking about how the story of what you do with your life is revealed through the radiance of your personal image? Yeah, what does that mean? Well, Annette is here to answer all of that for us. So once again, if you are thinking about calling in, we will be taking your calls in the second and third segment of the show. And at that time, you will meet the engineer on the phone lines. His name is Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hey, I am standing by and can't wait to talk to our listeners when they call in.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's the voice, dear listener, you are going to connect with, and he will make sure you get to the right place. How are things going for you, Eric?
Not too bad. It's been a pretty nice week, so I can't complain.
Good, good. And even though we have a bit of a cloudy day here in Bellevue, Washington, there's all sorts of good conscious talk coming through the airways.
That's right.
That's right. That's what we're here to do.
And I heard some places in the Midwest are expecting some snow this week. So
Whoa.
I am just fine with our weather here.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm not complaining. No, we don't need any snow, dear snow bunnies. We don't need any of that. We would like to talk about our image, though, and anyone who feels the desire to call in and speak with my guest, the phone number is 1-888-298-5569. 1-888-298-5569. And like I said, Eric will be taking your calls. Eric also does this wonderful thing, and he uploads all the shows after they are completed onto Podcast One. That's all one word. Podcast One, that you can subscribe to and have those shows downloaded to your phone so you can listen anytime. And also iTunes. So lots of ways to listen.
We try and make it easy.
We do try to make it easy. KKNW even has a really easy app at your app stores, KKNW 1150 AM. So you can listen live and you can grab those recorded podcasts. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to a lovely, lovely lady. This is the sad thing about radio, is you have to just trust me when I talk to you about the loveliness in this studio. But the wonderful thing about Annette is that she also sees the loveliness in you. She is a professional image consultant, and she is here to talk to us today about her brand, which is Reveal Your Radiance. So, welcome to the show, my friend Annette. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, and you look wonderful and you sound wonderful. I know that you went into business for yourself after a career with Mary Kay, so you were already tuned into the idea of image, but you'd crossed over into definitive style. What helped you decide, this is where I kind of want to take my time and energy, into definitive style? What helped you decide this is where I have some talent?
Debbie, it really started after I got out of college and I was in the fashion industry. And so I've always been in that space of working with women. And I actually really found in my early 20s that I loved working with women. I loved helping them to be their best self. And so along the last, 20 to 30 years of the various things I've done in that fashion, personal presence industry, it's about women. I'm passionate about helping them to, step up their game, reveal their radiance.
You are, and it's very clear wherever you go. One of the beautiful things, dear listeners, about Annette is you will never catch her looking shabby. Never. And that's because Annette owns her image. And her image is never shabby. Her image is of excellence and beauty and style. And one thing I find, Annette, in conversations I have is that a lot of us don't really understand, do I have style? And does it even really matter to have style? But I know this is something you work so closely with. What do you think about style?
I think for a lot of women, it is this abstract thing. What is my style? And when I start working with a client and that definition of style is, how can I help her to understand who she is at the core, if you will, is how can I help her to shine those qualities and values that she already has? And that's where she steps out, and it's not about trying to have style, but it's really about embracing who you already are and what does that look like. And so that's where I really come in, and as I get to know her, is take her on that journey and helping her to really uncover all those elements that make her shine brighter.
Mm-hmm. Is style one of those things that there's 5 of them that exist and you just are one, or is it more creative than that?
So the process that I work with my clients, that I'm kind of using behind the scenes, is fashion feng shui, if you will. And it does come along with, yes, there are 5 elements and there can be 5 different style types, but really there are not 5 different style types. We have a dominant. I think we all have a dominant, like any personality profile, but we are made up. We are multifaceted, and there are some days when I want to show up more organized and the quality. Some days I want to show up and add that fun of that inspiring piece of me. Some days I want to show that creativeness of me. So no, there isn't just one way to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that so much. One of the reasons I really wanted to bring you on to the radio show is because my life purpose, if you will, is about story. And it's about getting people to know their story and tell their story and live their story. I was talking with a business coach recently, and she said your number one value is to write a book and to help people write their books. And I had to really think about that for a minute, because I thought, no, that's actually bonus. If a book comes out of your story, that's a bonus. But to go through your life and not know what your story is, to not show up shining in your story, to not have words to put to your story, that to me would be so sad. And that's part of why I do this show, is I want my coaching to be that which helps people go deeper into their stories. So I'm guessing when you help people reveal your radiance, their radiance, you're helping them with their own story. And it might on some level be, more superficial, like, does this jacket look good on me? But my guess is it goes deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely. The more I can find out about that woman to truly, like you said, help her tell her story through clothing, the happier she is.
Yes.
And that's when she said, oh, I love this. I would never have picked this out. But when she can start telling me who she is, and I am reflecting that back to her with clothing pieces, and whether it's the style, whether it's the cut, whether it's the fabric, whether it's the color, and to start expressing herself. And it really does become a story.
Mm-hmm. It does, for sure. We're going to take a break in about 3 minutes here, but I just want to share a quick story of my own. And I want to encourage all of you, if you're thinking about a question, now's the time to get typing and send it in. When I first met Annette, one of my goals was to get into a comfortable pair of shoes, because I thought, I know how to dress and I do a lot of speaking, but it'd be really nice to not be thinking about my feet and the discomfort. It'd be really nice to just be able to give a speech and feel good. So I started at that entry-level spot. Help me find some shoes that look good with this great outfit. Help me make it a complete outfit. And what I found was that there were some steps to go through. And I'm really sharing this because it is about the reveal. When I shared with her, I want some shoes, quickly we were looking at why is it important to begin with those shoes? And I like I said, it's because I want to feel comfortable. But if we push that a little further, well, what's so important about feeling comfortable? The message started to come through that if I can feel comfortable, I might get the sense that I'm actually focusing more on what I'm sharing in my speech as opposed to my back or my feet. So I want to get comfortable. And so then the question comes up, well, if you were to feel comfortable, what would that do for you? And this is where Annette's work gets really interesting. What would it do for you if you got to actually feel comfortable? For me, the answer was, well, I'd feel more at home with myself. Well, if you're feeling more at home with yourself, what's happening while you're giving that speech? Well, the truth is, if I feel more at home with myself, I feel more confident. And wow, now we're really at the core of what Annette does. She brings people into their confidence. She doesn't let them settle that a new pair of shoes is going to do it for you. She helps people understand that underneath this request, take me shopping so I can get a new pair of shoes, underneath that is a story that's really hiding. And she helps her clients reveal their story and reveal their truth. So instead of me just settling, what she did was she helped me understand that when I'm standing in front of a group of people talking, I'm offering a message that is important to me, and all of me comes through. All of me is revealed. This is the brilliance of a professional image consultant. She stands tall in this excellence, and she radiates it right back to you. There is no way you can work with Annette Bond and not feel that. There is no way. The depth of her work is incredible. It's not just about clothes. She said that to me over and over again. And finally, when I started to feel my confidence, I knew what she was talking about. She's going to share all this with you. Why don't you take a minute and send in that question? We're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with image consultant Annette Bond.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Conversation you won't find on the rest of the dial. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Story U Talk Radio. I am your host, Coach Debby, and you are listening live 4 o'clock on Thursdays, or perhaps you're catching the replay. We always like to be here for your drive home. And if you are listening to the replay, please consider subscribing to iTunes or Podcast One. That is all one word, Podcast One. today I am talking to you, of course, about another story that is near and dear to my heart. I like to call it Reveal Your Radiance. And I have image consultant Annette Bond with me from Sammamish, Washington. And we are getting questions about what does it mean to reveal your radiance and how important is this? We have a writer, Nicole, who is 46, and she writes in and says this. My late grandmother taught me that you must look your best at work. I consider myself to be a classic dresser. I wear cardigans, blazers, and the pencil skirt with low-profile shoes. Nothing too high, nothing too fancy. Nothing too shiny. I work in a downtown law firm and sometimes in the courts. I'm not a lawyer, but I take my work seriously because I am the breadwinner in the family. I am at work every day to earn a good wage, and I look after my family, and I want to be noticed for every opportunity for advancement. So, my question is about staying classic in the midst of today's trends. If you've noticed, the shops are full of florals and long tunics and blazers garbled with zippers and fringe. Tell us how you really feel, Nicole, okay? Yes, I like that. Am I sounding like an old lady? I just don't want to take away from a possible promotion by falling into a trend that seems unsophisticated. So just to round that out, what it sounds like to me is we've got a woman who's working downtown. She's identified herself as 46. She works around lawyers, although she's not a lawyer, and she is the breadwinner. She wants to be in that position for advancements. What do you think about her question around trends yet being noticed?
I love your question, Nicole, because I work with a lot of women who would be sharing this exact same question. And first of all, you need to honor that you are, I like to call a classic kind of gal. And you need, as I want to say, honor that. And I think what I have a lot of my gals that I work with, they'll say, but I want to be current and up to date. And so keeping that classic style, but keeping current and up to date. And I like to say it's a way to show your uniqueness. Start looking at accessories. It might be a beautiful scarf that's, current for the season, maybe with a certain pattern. It might be a beautiful piece of jewelry. It might be a new color. And I talk a lot. That's one of my expertises that I love is color. And that is such a easy, effortless way to really feel more current with a classic kind of feel.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And color doesn't have to be something that you douse yourself in from head to toe.
Not at all. It can just be a pop of color, whether it's in your shoes, whether it's in a necklace, it could be a scarf, it could be one of your cardigans or your jackets, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something that Annette taught me to do, but then she reminds me just by how she shows up in the room. Right now, Annette is dressed in black and white. She looks stunning. She looks classic. But her shoes and her lips are red. And, I mean, it's beautiful. Her purse probably is, too. It's just gorgeous, the way she understands that color brings out her story. There is nothing plain about Annette, but there's also nothing overbearing about Annette. And this is what I'm starting to see when we have an image and we are relating to our story. It's not just a pair of shoes. So another thing I have noticed is that when I think of the whole package, the whole outfit, You know what I notice about myself, Annette?
Hmm.
My posture's better.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I see it all the time.
Don't you?
Absolutely.
Annette and I go to these events for women in entrepreneurial networks, and I notice when one of her clients sees her from across the room, they pop those shoulders back. They do it instantly. You inspire people all the time to be their best, to just be their best. And your posture is part of your story. Your posture is telling people how confident you not only feel in your day, but in your brand. Your posture reveals all that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a nonverbal image, and it's something that a lot of people don't think about. Absolutely, just standing there. In fact, one of the coolest things is when I first start working with a client, I always take a before picture the minute they walk into my home studio, and then we take a picture after our process of our working together. And to look at that picture, and the number one thing I always notice is the way they're standing. It's the way their shoulders are back. Their whole posture. You can just feel there's an energy that comes through the way they're standing.
Yeah. I saw it in the picture you took of me. I remember it so well. And I remember being embarrassed when I got it. And I thought, oh, I didn't show up well. But you know what? This is why you mirror that back to us, is because you are helping people understand there's a story inside of you, and when it comes out, it's not going to show up well if you're not in charge of revealing your radiance. You got to know your story. So there's a lot of ways to work with you. I know you offer strategy sessions. What's that about?
I do. That's my style strategy. And what it is, it's an opportunity for me to get to know you, number one, and I want to find out, where are you stuck? You know, whether you're at a place where you just don't even know where to begin. Maybe it's about coordinating outfits, what's appropriate, color, style, fit. Maybe it's just a reboot you need. I need to find out where you're stuck. And then the second piece of that is, how is that? What is your why? You were talking about that earlier. Is it, how do you want to be seen? What's going on? I loved this from a client, and it just sticks in my memory. And she said to me, her number one goal of our working together, she worked with a lot of men. And she said, I want to walk into the room and I want to be that 1% woman. And so that was the thread of all of our working together. We always stood back and said, does that look like the 1% woman? And do you feel like the 1% woman? So, what is that why? Why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The 1%.
So this is, an opportunity for me to find all that out and then take that next step.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And I hear people talk a lot about VIP days. So I always think of that as like, I'm very special for the day. So I love that you have gone and elevated your program into what we'd call more of a signature, a longer period of time that we get to work with you. Is that right?
We do. It's called my Reveal Your Radiance Signature Program. And it's a 90-day program that we really start from head to toe. We're an assessment on, again, how is it you want to show up? What are those ruts, those struggles that you're going through? And we do talk about who you are from the inside out, what's working, what's not working. We talk about color and body type. We go into your closet. What do you have that's working? What isn't working? What needs to leave that closet? What are the missing links that are making it hard for you to get dressed? I then do some styling inside of your closet. There's some outfits that I can guarantee you that you've never worn before that are sitting in your closet right now. And then from there, the shopping starts. So there's a whole lot that goes on before we even start the shopping. So I actually do all the shopping, and you get to just show up in the dressing room. It's all put together. You don't have to shop the racks, and it is truly a VIP experience.
Yeah, but for 90 days, I mean, this idea of having access to you for that amount of time, that's the program I want. That's the good stuff. I am really, though, very, very curious about the idea that feng shui isn't just something that exists in the living room or the household, but it is what you can call the feng shui of my wardrobe and my full image. Is that right? Is it just my wardrobe or is it my full image?
It really is. Can I give you a definition?
Tell me all about it.
It is conscious clothing choices that fulfill you, support you, and flatter you.
I'm all about that. I love that. I love that. See, I once thought if you put me in a comfy pair of shoes, I'll be fine. And now I want the full meal deal. I want the signature 90-day program. I want the full fashion feng shui. And if I remember right, there are sort of these types that help a woman have, I don't know, a structure to build with. Like you've told me a little bit about the elements, like the water types and the wood types. Does that fit in with fashion feng shui, or is that actually something different?
It does. So, what we start with, and it's called, I'm going to give you this definition, a transformational triad. And think of a triangle. And we first start with that fulfilling, and that is fulfilling your essence. And so it's deciding who are you in that?
Yeah.
What is that dominance? Are you more of the water, the wood, the fire, the metal, the earth?
And I remember you asked us if we could just bring it down to one word. And I said, I think of myself as a feminine person. Did I come up with that word so we could pick from the 5? Was that part of it?
Yes. So one of the questions I ask, if you were to have a blank T-shirt, and you could have one word that described you, what would that be?
Oh, yeah. I remember. And I started with the word romantic, and then I thought, no, it's not really because it wasn't full enough. And I went to feminine.
And so that tells me when a woman can tell me who she is, and that's how she describes her, that is really kind of the beginning of me really getting to know who you are. And believe it or not, it tells me a lot. And of course, as I said earlier, we're very multifaceted, but we do have a dominant driver about us of how we show up. And I just look at you right now, Debbie, and you are the epitome of feminine, and I love it.
Well, it's fun. It's fun, and it makes me feel like me. And that's why her program works so well, is she brings you into the fullness of your story. Might I say that I brought someone to a program who said, I think my one word will be sporty. And when I said, I think you're actually more than that, she turned to me and she had tears on her face and just said, then I don't know who I am. She couldn't come up with a word beyond sporty. And it hurt. It hurt. This idea that she's going through the world, going through her day, and she doesn't really fully know her image. She can find one word that brings up one part, but not something that speaks to all of her. And I feel like that's what fashion feng shui does, is it sort of welcomes you home and into that space of your image again.
Well, the whole piece of it is to really start with your authenticness. And women say to me all the time, I just want to be authentic. I just want to be authentic. I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard. Well, the first thing to me, if you're trying too hard, then you're not being you. Yeah. And we have to own, people will say to me all the time, oh my gosh, you're so dressed up. Like, look at you. And, yes, I am an image consultant, but this has always been who I am.
That's right.
And when you can stand in that that truly authenticness of who you are, and you then you are radiating, revealing your radiance.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And I just want to invite those of you who are sitting there going, my question, I don't know if it's the right question. Just give it a try. We're at 1-888-298-5569. We're going to take our second break now, but when we return, we will be taking your questions. Stay tuned.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/1150KKNW.
Welcome back to Story U Talk Radio. I am your host, Coach Debby, and I am based in Seattle, Washington, where I help you discover your story. I am offering a few programs right now, a mastermind, a 90-day accelerated book writing program, or if you're just getting started with a coach, a little one-on-one coaching. To find out about any of these, go to www.coachdebby.com and click on Connect. You can get on my calendar and we'll start to figure out what's right for you. I'm talking today about revealing your radiance with professional image consultant Annette Bond. And a few minutes ago, we were talking about a question that was brought to us by Nicole, who was saying that she was a real classy dresser and she worked in a law firm, and she wanted to know, how do these trends affect how she shows up? And now we've got another person writing in, Tracy from Renton. And Tracy has something that also is about image, but hers is a little more about the weekend. So let's address that. Tracy says, no one in my family, including my twin sister, really understand or care about having a sense of style. I think it's important. I've been the butt of family jokes, the one who takes so long to get ready because I like my clothes to look nice. I don't think I have to be just like my family, hanging out in a Seahawks jersey on account of the fact that it's just Saturday. Dressing up feels good to me. But here I am, a grown woman, still trying to find my best style. It takes so long when I shop, and I can't make decisions very easily. Sometimes the salesgirl says an item looks great, but I'm not still sure how you can tell. I would love any suggestions you have for me. So just to kind of review, Tracy from Renton is feeling like it's fun to dress up, doesn't want to always be stuck in that Seahawks jersey, but when you're not hanging around people that value style, how do you start to recognize style? How do you see what the sales girl sees?
Well, one of the things that I like to teach my clients is to really be their own discerning of objectivity, if you will. And so, Tracy, I'm just going to even share when you're in the dressing room and you're trying something on, and I know there's a lot of shopping that goes on, and it can be just like super random, like, oh, this is great, but you're not really sure, okay, does it look right? What am I going to do with it? What am I going to wear with it? I am a very much of a person who believes that our image is also a tool. And so I'm going to use one of the second triads of the fashion feng shui, and that is clothing that visually affirms your goals and using clothing as a tool to support you. And so what I mean by that is when you have this piece on is, what is it you need more in your life? I mean, are you wanting people to see your creativity, your artisticness? Do you want people to know that that you do have a lot of passion, that there's a lot of fun in you, but maybe it's not coming through? Or maybe you just need those clothes just super simple because I'm a get-it-done kind of gal and I got lots of things going on. I need to move in my clothes. Maybe you are looking, I just need to feel more organized. I want my my wardrobe to feel that elevated, up-leveled, and you're looking for quality. So really ask yourself is, what is this piece going to do for me? What is it? How is it going to make me feel? Why am I getting it? And how am I going to use it? And to truly be purposeful with it.
Well, yeah, very, very nice. Purposeful. And that's something you always are, Annette, is full of purpose and full of excellence, which makes me think about the idea of elevating. I've heard you talk about elevating our style because it elevates our confidence.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean I mean, clearly we know elevating means going up, but elevating our style elevates our confidence. What's that about?
It's not, in my book, it's not just looking the part, but it's feeling more put together, more polished, more stylish, more quality, more confidence, whatever that is for you. There is no right or wrong, but what is that elevated for you? And it's also really a standard that you hold for yourself. So again, we're all on this, we're all on our own journey, if you will. It might be, maybe you're somebody who shops at Target and elevating is going to Macy's. Or maybe you've been shopping at Nordstrom's and you say, I want to shop in a different department, or I need to feel more put together. So it can mean different things for different people.
Absolutely. And what I'm finding is that transformation is possible, that I no longer have the closet I used to have. I told you, Annette, that my friend Antonio's coming to town. And I did this video for him where I hung 12 pieces of clothing. And I said, Annette Bond says a great closet starts with 12 pieces of clothing. And I showed him how to make capsules. And he was just completely enamored by this and excited because many of us find that our shape and size change as we age or change as we have different habits. And I am not of the belief anymore that I need a huge wardrobe. I'm of the belief that I need an excellent wardrobe. And often that is one that's pretty pretty small compared to typical standards. Annette, I wonder, when you're working with people, do you often find that there is a propensity to overbuy instead of thoughtfully buy? What is that common thing you see when you approach a woman's closet?
Yes, absolutely. She's overbought. And I think this is just part of me, is sometimes it's like, I'm going to find that great piece. This is going to be the piece. This is going to make me feel more confident. This is going to make me feel more polished. And so much of the time, it's not quite right. And so it's interesting because I have even found when I'm working with gals is I believe that I'd rather see them have fewer pieces, better quality, than more pieces and not the quality, that pieces that they're going to love. And that's actually one of my philosophies, is when you look in the mirror, I want them to look in the mirror and say, oh, I love it. Because I know when they love it, that once they put that in their closet, they're going to be excited to wear it.
You gave me this 2-step process once, and it has never failed me. I have to love the piece before I buy it, and it must fit today. I used to do this trick. I'd think, oh, I really like this, and if I lose 3 pounds, it'll fit great. Or if I take it into the tailor and have them change it in all these ways, it'll look great. Or if I dye it a different color, it'll go with my skin. And none of these things ever happened, right? Because it wasn't right. I loved something about it, but I didn't totally love it because the fit was off. And so I would fall into having too many things. We just got a live listener who has a question exactly about this. This is Lisa from Edmonds. Thank you. Lisa says, this is such a rich topic. I am a woman over 50, and I am so glad that your guest understands me. I can't wait to meet her. Can I ask you a quick question? I have recently become more and more comfortable in my own skin ever since my kids went off to college, and I have found a new sense of freedom. My question for you is about really reinventing myself. I am someone who is very tall and very professional by day, but what do you think if I did something wild and strange? For example, I've always wanted really short hair. Did I tell you I'm over 50? I've never had really short hair. I also like that look of bands of rings and bands of bracelets, but I've never worn that. And still to this day, I have no tattoos. How about a tiny little one on my shoulder? Would that go with the newest fashions? I really want to be more and more expressive now that I have found this new confidence, and I am no longer a day-to-day mom. What are your thoughts? Her name is Lisa, and she has written in from Edmonds, Washington.
Hi, Lisa. Oh, my gosh. Well, welcome to the Fab and 50 Club.
We're in it.
Do you know what I'm hearing? I think that you have always had something in you, that fun, that expressiveness about you, and that you have never given yourself, if you will, permission to have that short hair, to wear those bracelets. And so that's part of when I talked about, bringing out how do you want to be seen? What do you want people to know about you? So I don't know if it's so much about being, what I'm kind of hearing through this, it's not necessarily being a rebel, I'm going to do this thing. I think somebody who wants to express themselves that way, it's already there, and you just haven't allowed yourself in the past. That's my thought.
And I couldn't agree more. Lisa, I bet people look at you all the time and see the sassy, short-haired gal.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're probably just waiting for you to go and get it, you know? Really express it. That's what Annette Bond is all about, revealing that radiance that's been inside of you for so long. It's time to give yourself permission, really permission to be all of you.
And, I think there's sometimes, too, is we start conforming to our environment. And I've had so many women, and I've heard this over and over, especially professional women, is that they've conformed to their environment, and they look in the mirror one day and they go, I don't like what I see. I don't like how I look. I don't like whatever it is. And that's why they've hired me. It's like, I need to get back to the real me because I have let my environment kind of take over it. And what I, quotations, should be wearing, what I ought to be wearing, whether it's not dressy or, going to that casual Seattle, but really saying, I'm more than this.
Mm-hmm. Revealing your radiance is not about becoming a beauty queen. I used to have people ask me about that.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's about really revealing the true, real you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Standing in it, being confident about it, liking it. I think so often why people don't reveal is there's something on the inside that they're just not liking that much.
And it's scary.
You
know what? It can be scary. My gal who had said, I want to show up as that 1% woman, I'll never forget it. Afterwards, she had a lot of stories where she was getting compliments that she had never received before. And it was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to really to step into that fullness of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Annette, this has been wonderful.
No, it's been awesome.
I'm so glad you came. I really want to know, and I bet you get asked this a lot. Do you have a superpower?
Oh, I love that. I love that phrase, that superpower. I would say my superpower is that I could take one piece of your clothing, whether that's, and I'm going to say this is something you love, like a beautiful scarf or a beautiful sweater, whatever that might be. It might even be a piece of jewelry. And that I could build you a wardrobe capsule with 10 to 12 pieces of clothing, and that everything mixed and matched while incorporating your essence, supporting your goals, and flattering you.
I can stand behind that 100%. Yes, that is your superpower. Yes, she's done it for me. Yes, it feels amazing to go to your closet and see that. It's like the day is ready for you when you open up your closet and you see, I don't have to think this through.
Yes.
The amazement is ready for me. I just put it on. And sometimes when we forget all that we are doing in the world and bringing to the world, if we've given that attention to our image, we're instantly reminded when we see it in the morning, right?
Yeah. You know what I love, too, is when you give your attention to your image, you can walk out the door and forget about what you're wearing. And I know that's kind of the opposite of what it sounds like of giving attention, but because so many women have that anxiety, did I do it right? Does it match? I want you to forget about all that and that you have nailed your look. You feel like $1,000,000. You walk out the door and you go do what you do best.
There you go. Put it on, look great, and forget about it. There you go. That's a wrap. We have a show. I am so grateful you were here, and I would love to have you back.
Thank you.
For all of you, come back and see me again next week when we talk about your closest bond. Stay tuned. We will be here 4 o'clock next Thursday. Coach Debby, Story U, Talk Radio. Namaste.